Yes.
You know, William Ruto is very convincing. He's a very convincing guy. And he's very deceptive. Extremely deceptive. He had convinced all of us that this housing program, affordable, was a good thing for Kenya. That it will create employment for our young people, that this program, we need slum upgrading, we need to dignify our people, blah, blah, blah. It sounded very nice. Only to realize later, it's nonsense.
At what point did you make this realization?
After 1 year. It's when I started seeing what's going on. To start with, when he forced people now to have the housing levy. Because the question people were asking me, and I went and asked him.
What was the idea for you in your mind with this?
Initially, we thought it's a genuine thing. Only to realize that it's about business. That William Ruto has seen a business opportunity to sell cement, to sell steel, and to sell iron sheets. Again, to partner with developers to make money. And for that program to succeed, it needed a source of money. So he had to create a housing levy so that the money is flowing. And this money has been put in Sidan Bank, a bank that he bought immediately we came into office. Okay? Sidan Bank is level 3, is tier 3. According to the central bank regulations, all money belonging to parastatals and governments must be put in tier 1. Tier 1 is Cooperative Bank, Equity, Barclays, those big banks. But he told central bank to allow Sidan to receive money from SHA and also money from housing. So that bank has grown, from a profit of 300 million in 1 year to 1.2 billion.
So I want to understand this. You're saying, so at what point did you realize SHA, according to you, wasn't the idea that you needed
the first 1 year.
Housing in the first
the
1
first
year.
1 year
Okay.
of our administration is where it started becoming very clear to me that this William Ruto was not a genuine man. He had conned us, he was deceptive, and he's a businessman, and he's not interested in the country.
And yet, Mr. Gachagua, you stayed and then got impeached, and it is only after your impeachment that you started to speak out about all of these things, about organizing meetings.
I spoke before.
So my question to you is, you say you are not a yes man, and that's why the president doesn't like you.
Yes.
You say you realized that, SHA and affordable housing had issues with all of these. Were you ever going to say some of these things before you were impeached?
Yes.
Would you have continued to serve in the administration of President William Ruto? I asked you about some of these things a little earlier. You said, well, what could I do? He was president. You could have resigned, Mr. Gachagua, if you have such grave issues.
I couldn't have resigned.
Why not?
The framers of the 2010 Constitution are very wise. Why did they want a president and a deputy elected? So that they can check each other. That's what I was doing. I was checking from inside until a point he couldn't stand it. And he decided to get rid of me. What happened?
Mr. Gachagua, you were not very successful with checking him.
No, I was. Let me tell you. Let me now.
Well, tell us.
That's why I went to cabinet and opposed the finance bill of 2024. I did.
2023?
2024.
Okay.
I said no. And it was put on record. And he was mad with me. And I went in public meetings asking the MPs to listen to the ground. It was a way of checking. Because when you are deputy president and there is a finance bill, and when people ask me, what do you think about this finance bill? I say, listen to the ground. The people did not want it. I told the MPs, listen to the ground. And the president was mad with me. Finally, when it came to cabinet, I went and opposed the demolitions and evictions of Nairobi River. If you remember, it was one of the charges in the Senate against me. I opposed when I was deputy president. I did not oppose when I left office, Yvonne. I opposed when I was in office. And it was a charge of insubordinating the president because of saying no. Our manifesto was clear that we shall never carry out demolitions and evictions until we have settled the people.
Okay.
When the Gen Z protest came, Yvonne, I want to put it on record so that we are speaking from the same page. I opposed abductions and killings. And when the president insisted, and our kids were shot and killed on June 25th, 2024, on the 26th of June, as deputy president, I called a press conference in Mombasa and castigated President William Ruto and the Director of National Intelligence Service for abductions and extrajudicial killings. I am not doing it because I'm outside, Yvonne. I was doing it from inside. And that is why the president now could not stand it anymore. In fact, it's after my press conference on June 26th is when he made a decision he must get rid of me. And it took him about 4 months. He started putting things into motion. And I told the president, I think it was on June 22nd, when I saw the operation order, what had been planned, the killings, the abductions, I went and I said, Mr. President, I am a parent, you are a parent. I have 2 young boys, you have young children. How can we kill these people simply because they are saying the finance bill is not acceptable? Why can't we listen to them? He said, my friend, you are in government, you do what we are saying. So the subsequent meeting for National Security Council, I was not invited because I would have opposed the operation. So when it happened, on June 25th, the president called a press conference at night. He did not invite me, and he said, this was treasonous, these are criminals, they'll pay for it. I was mad because I knew these children were innocent, and they were simply clamoring for their rights and the rights of the people of Kenya. And what happened, Yvonne, is that nature abhors vacuum. The minute the president captured parliament, the minute he compromised Raila Odinga, there was nobody else to speak for the people of Kenya. And since nature abhors vacuum, the Gen Z just came up, because that's the way nature operates, and they started speaking for the people of Kenya. So I made a decision. I flew to Mombasa. I called a press conference, and that marked the end of the relation between me and President William Ruto. We never spoke again. We just pretend we are speaking, but we never met one-to-one. We never spoke on telephone. We were speaking on messages until the day I left office. So you cannot say, Yvonne, that I spoke because I left. I started speaking. For 1 year, I was speaking from inside. And that's why he was accusing me. You know, he was telling me to defend Adani. I told him I will not. He says, go to the TV stations and defend the university model. I said, I will not. Because the thing is not good. You know, I was in a funeral in Kitale. And the Senator for Kisii, Richard Oyonka, really attacked the government because of Adani. And I spoke last. I did not say anything. I talked about other things. I left. And the president's PA called me all manner of names. Wewe ni mujinga sana, you are very stupid. You are deputy president, you spoke last. Somebody has attacked the government and you cannot defend. What kind of a deputy are you? I said, my friend, tell the president to call me and tell him I cannot defend corruption. Adani is corruption, I will not defend. Then he said, utatuona. The rest is history. Yvonne, I am a credible man, I'm a man of honor. And I was prepared to face the consequences of standing with what is right and what is true.
I want us to speak about those protests for a moment and the state of rule of law and order in the country. Since those protests, there have been the abductions, there have been the killings, and there's also now an attempt at charging some of those who are involved in the protests using terror charges in the terror charge sheet. What are your thoughts as to where we are now, the state of the nation now, following the protests, in terms of, you know, the state of the rule of law? There's been talk and questions of having dialogue at this point. What is your thought on the state of rule of law following, you know, everything we've seen with the protests in the country, and what the way forward or the way out of that impasse looks like?
Yvonne, I saw the president gazetting Katiba Day, you know, and I was flabbergasted as to how foolish William Ruto think the people of Kenya are. Katiba Day? He has violated the constitution from the first chapter to the last one. Freedoms in the Bill of Rights have been taken away from the people of Kenya. These young people who were abducted, they were within their constitutional right to question government.